At the press junket, the crowd started chanting for Bella Vance and Caleb Ryder. Kiss, kiss, kiss. A second later, they were locked in a passionate, breathless kiss for the cameras. And there I was, sitting in the audience, Bella Vance's actual boyfriend. Caleb's taunting gaze flickered toward me, a silent challenge. Rage burned through me, and before I could think, I was on my feet, storming the stage and landing a solid punch on his jaw. For a newcomer, Caleb had mastered the art of playing the victim. He'd already cultivated a legion of rabid fans online. My arrival shattered the carefully crafted PR moment. Who is that guy? How dare he touch Caleb? I think that's the actor who played Leo in that indie film, Omnibus. A few people in the crowd recognized me, but to most, the name meant nothing. After all, I was a D-list actor at best. Bella rushed to help Caleb up, hissing at me under her breath. Leo, what the hell are you doing? We were just acting for the cameras. Apologize to Caleb now. Apologize to the guy you're cheating on me with? You think that's going to happen? I stared at her, my voice cold. My defiance seemed to catch her off guard. She couldn't imagine that the man who had always bent to her will was suddenly pushing back. But as someone who had gotten used to being on top, she brushed the detail aside. Leo, this is a professional collaboration, nothing more. Stop making it sound so sordid. Does a professional collaboration require a French kiss in front of a live audience? The icy edge in my voice made her flinch. Caleb, ever the manipulator, turned on the charm. It's okay, Bella, he said, his voice dripping with false sincerity. Leo's just a little stressed. I'm not mad. Ugh, Bella sighed, not even trying to hide her admiration for him. If only Leo were half as understanding as you. Hearing that, Caleb shot me a triumphant smirk. I raised my fist again, ready to wipe it off his face. Crack! The sharp sound echoed through the room. I stood frozen, the stinging heat on my cheek blossoming into a throbbing pain as I stared at Bella. Leo, when are you going to grow up? She demanded, her eyes filled with disappointment. That look hurt more than the slap. My gaze dropped to their hands, fingers tightly intertwined. So intimate. I was supposed to be her boyfriend, but right now, I felt like the villain in their story. We're done. The moment the words left my mouth, a wave of relief washed over me, a feeling I hadn't had in years. I was so tired of this relationship. It was time to let myself go. What did you say? Bella looked at me, incredulous, but she didn't let go of Caleb's hand. We're done, I repeated, fighting back a wave of nausea. Or, to put in your terms, you're written out of my life. And since she was no longer in the picture, I, the protagonist, wouldn't be the one getting kicked out. I held my head high and walked out. My phone buzzed as soon as I stepped outside. A text from Bella. Leo, wait. I'll explain after the event is over. Huh. I immediately blocked her number. Back at our apartment, the framed photos of us smiling together felt like a sick joke. I pulled them off the wall and tossed them into the trash. As I packed, I realized all my belongings barely filled a single suitcase. It was after midnight, and Bella still wasn't home. I didn't have to guess where she was. Out celebrating with Caleb, no doubt. But that wasn't my problem anymore. Looking around the sleek, cold apartment, I couldn't help but feel a pang of nostalgia. Years ago, Bella had asked me to quit my job and move to with her, to fully support her dream of making it in Hollywood. So I did. I became the man behind the woman. A low-budget college drama she landed became an unexpected hit, launching her career. I was with her every step of the way, from her days as an unknown to winning her first Oscar. I still remembered the promises she made. Babe, as soon as I make it big, we'll go public. I'll take care of you forever. Babe, don't worry. I'll never do a showman's with another actor. You're the only one who will ever stand by my side. I can't count the number of times I imagined marrying her. A quiet life, just the two of us, maybe a dog. Waking up together, making breakfast, growing old. But when did it all start to unravel? We hadn't shared a real meal in months. My calls went unanswered or were met with rushed, annoyed replies. She broke her promises one by one, starting a very public showman's, with Caleb playing the part of the adoring couple for their fans. I remember the night I had a raging fever. I begged her to take me to the ER, but one call from Caleb, and she was out the door. My desperate pleas were met with a sharp rebuke. It's just a fever, Leo. Take some Tylenol. You're not dying. Caleb hurt his hand on set. Later, I saw her Instagram story. Caleb had a tiny scratch on his finger. I, on the other hand, had passed out and was lucky a neighbor found me. After that, her life was either work or whining and dining Caleb. Every time I confronted her, she'd claim it was all for the studio, that she hated it. But the smiles in her posts, cuddled up in Caleb's arms, looked perfectly genuine. Maybe when you act a part for long enough, you forget what's real. I was the only one stuck in the past, too foolish to see the truth. I shook my head, clearing the thoughts away. I grabbed my single suitcase and headed for the door. Just as I opened it, Bella arrived, reeking of alcohol and leaning heavily on Caleb. "Hey, Leo." Bella had a bit too much to drink, so I brought her home, Caleb said with a smug, insincere smile. I didn't even bother asking how he got the key code. All I wanted to do was punch him again. How could a man be so utterly repulsive? Seeing my silence, Caleb's arm tightened possessively around Bella's waist. "Why aren't we going in?" Bella mumbled, her eyes fluttering open. When she saw me with my suitcase, she seemed to sober up instantly. "Leo, it's so late. Where are you going?" "To a place I belong," I said with a shrug, my eyes flicking between them. "And to give you two some space." Bella quickly pulled away from Caleb. "Caleb, you should go," she said softly. But he took a step closer, but one sharp look from Bella stopped him. He shot me a venomous glare before turning to leave. "I'm heading out then, Bella. Call me." After he was gone, she walked over to the sofa and sat down, crossing her legs. The gesture, once alluring, now left me cold. Standing before her, I felt less like her partner and more like her subordinate. "I had my publicist kill the story on Twitter," she said, her tone imperious, as if she were granting me a royal pardon. "If you issue a public apology to Caleb, you can keep your job." So this is your big explanation?" I scoffed. Her brow furrowed. "Without this work, how are you going to support yourself? Or do you plan on letting me support you forever? You want to be a kept man your whole life." "A kept man?" I stared at her, my voice dangerously low. "Bella, look me in the eye and tell me, when have I ever taken a dime from you? Besides this apartment, what in this place didn't I buy?" For years, most of the money I earned went into our life together. I had given everything to this relationship. For a fleeting moment, a flicker of guilt crossed her face. She knew it was true, but it vanished as quickly as it appeared, replaced by her usual arrogance. "You used to be so supportive, Leo. You never interfered with my career. Why have you suddenly changed?" she asked, her tone accusatory, as if I were the one on trial. "You're the one who changed, Bella. You became obsessed with fame, arrogant." My voice was flat, devoid of emotion. "You promised me you would never have intimate contact with another man, not even for a role. You broke that promise." My words hit her like a physical blow. She looked stunned, opening her mouth to speak, but nothing came out. Maybe she'd forgotten that promise entirely. I was the only fool who still remembered. The air grew thick with tension. She took a deep breath. "Leo, why are you being so petty? Can't you make a small sacrifice for my career?" Unsurprisingly, it was still my fault. But this time, I wasn't buying it. "What the hell are you talking about? You're the one who broke your word. You're the one who's wrong. Why should I be the one to sacrifice anything?" I shot back. "But it doesn't matter. We're broken up. You could shoot a porno with him for all I care." Without giving her another chance to speak, I grabbed my suitcase and walked out, not looking back. I thought I heard the sound of something smashing behind me, but I didn't care anymore. I moved into an old studio apartment I'd bought years ago. After a long, hot shower, I fell into a deep, dreamless sleep. It was the best night's rest I'd had in years. I woke up around noon and instinctively opened my laptop to check on Bella's social media. I caught myself and shook my head with a bitter laugh. Old habits die hard. I scrolled through Twitter. As expected, last night's incident was trending, and just as predictably, I was being universally canceled. The number one trending topic, however, was the official announcement of Bella Vance and Caleb Ryder's relationship. The replies were flooded with congratulatory messages for the happy couple. What a damn fool I'd been, still holding on to a shred of hope for a woman like that. I slammed the laptop shut just as my phone rang. It was an unknown number. "Hello, who's this?" I answered. "Leo, have you had your tantrum yet? Come home, now." Bella's imperious voice came through the phone. What home? You mean your home with Caleb? I leaned back in my chair, sarcasm dripping from my voice. Ms. Vance, you're a taken woman now. Isn't it a little inappropriate to be calling your ex? I already explained this to you. It was a PR stunt arranged by the studio to generate buzz for the movie. Stop obsessing over it. Her tone left no room for argument. Her words made my stomach turn. An Oscar-winning actress like you? Don't tell me the studio can force you into anything without your consent. That shut her up. Not want to waste another second on her. I hung up and blocked the new number. After that, Bella was busy with her press tour, feeding her fan base a steady diet of content with Caleb. She didn't bother me again, and I enjoyed a few days of peace. But my quiet life was shattered early one morning. I opened my door to find Bella standing there. I frowned and immediately tried to close it. She stuck her hand in the doorframe, forcing me to stop. She was a famous actress, after all. If I injured her, I'd be doxxed and torn apart online in seconds. She frowned at me. Leo, do you really not want to see me that badly? No, it's not that I don't want to see you. I'm disgusted by you. Is that answer satisfactory? I leaned against the doorframe, my patience worn thin. My blunt reply seemed to stun her. She stared at me, dumbfounded. She probably couldn't believe that the man who once worshipped the ground she walked on could ever say he was disgusted by her. Realization turned to anger. Leo, how dare you speak to me like that? She seethed. Let me tell you something. Without me, you are nothing. Yep, you're right. I'm a total loser, I said, starting to pick at my nails with a bored expression. Are you done? If you're done, you can leave. I was practically shooing her away, as if her presence was a bad omen. Seeing my completely unbothered attitude, she was left speechless. You, she sputtered, pointing a finger at me. We'll see how long you last. I'll be waiting for you to come crawling back to apologize. With that, she spun around and stormed off. I grabbed a can of air freshener, sprayed the doorway, and slammed the door shut. That evening, I got a friend request on Instagram. It was from Caleb. I was curious to see what kind of garbage he was going to spew, so I accepted. The DMs started flooding in immediately. Photo after photo of Bella curled up in his arms. A few close-ups of them kissing passionately. Thanks, Leo. I couldn't have locked Bella down without you. You know, when she kisses me, she's really into it. Bit my lip so hard it bled. We're heading to a hotel in a bit. Wonder what she's like in bed. I could practically picture his smug face. But his taunts no longer had any power over me. I typed back a simple reply. She's alright, I guess. Gets a little boring after you've done it a few hundred times. I knew it was a vile thing to say, but damn, it felt good. Sure enough, the replies stopped. The thought of his goddess being with someone else must have stung. Not my problem. God, I felt vindicated. I turned back to my laptop and logged into a Twitter account I hadn't touched in years. The follower count was even higher than Bella's. Well, I'm back, I murmured to myself. Just then my phone rang. Seeing the name on the screen, I froze for a second. Taking a deep breath, I answered. Maya, it's been a long time. Ha ha ha, Leo. Look at you now. You threw away your career as a top-tier screenwriter. And for what? To get dumped. The first thing I heard was Maya Rodriguez's unrestrained laughter. So much for a dramatic, emotional reunion. There wasn't even any background music. I let out a wry laugh. Yeah, I was young and stupid. Before I met Bella, I was one of the most sought-after screenwriters in the industry. My pen name was Cypher, and every script I wrote was a blockbuster. Every studio wanted a piece of me. But then I met Bella. I threw away all that fame and fortune for her, only to be branded a freeloader in the end. Maya was the CEO of Summit Pictures, the biggest player in Hollywood. She was also my first and most loyal fan. When I gave up my career for Bella, we had a massive fight, and we hadn't spoken since. I couldn't believe she called the second I logged back on. Maya went quiet for a moment after hearing my confession. So, what's your plan now? She asked, her voice softer. I'm writing a new script, I said, gazing out at the night sky. It felt good to say those words again. Are you serious? Maya's shriek was so loud, I heard a glass shatter in the background. Do you have time to meet? Can we talk? A genuine smile spread across my face. Absolutely. Just as we hung up, another message from Caleb came through. Inside the coffee shop, Maya and I sat across from each other, the clinking of our spoons against porcelain the only sound. The silence was a little awkward. I was trying to think of something to say when she finally spoke. I'll forgive you for being an idiot, but on one condition. I want exclusive first rights to your new script as compensation. You got it, I said, putting my spoon down and grinning. Even if she hadn't asked, I wouldn't have gone to any other studio. My quick agreement seemed to surprise her. After a moment, a bright smile lit up her face. She extended a hand across the table. Welcome back, Cypher. I knew what she meant. I shook her hand, smiling back. The weeks that followed fell into a comfortable rhythm. I was either writing or having dinner with Maya. As for Bella, she was busy on her press tour with Caleb, their popularity soaring. They had fully embraced their roles as Hollywood's new power couple. When Maya told me about it, I just shrugged. The feelings I once had for Bella were gone. There was nothing left. A month flew by in a blur. Oh my God, Leo, you've done it again. This is going to be a massive hit. Maya looked up from her tablet, her eyes shining like stars. I had the strange feeling there was more than just admiration in her gaze, something deeper. I shook the thought away. I only have one condition for this script, I said. I choose the cast. Of course, no problem. Maya agreed without a second's hesitation, a mischievous grin spreading across her face. I bet Bella and her little boy toy will show up for the audition, right? She mused. I wonder what their faces will look like when they find out you're Cypher. I tapped my fingers on the table, not answering. I was a perfectionist with my scripts. I didn't want a single flaw in the final product. Even if it was Bella and Caleb, if they were right for the roles, I would still cast them. Maya seemed to read my mind and wisely change the subject. Okay, the script is set. I'll have the studio put out a press release right away. We'll start holding auditions. I nodded. Maya was as efficient as ever. Within 5 minutes, the official Summit Pictures Twitter account posted the news. Summit Pictures is thrilled to announce a new project in collaboration with a legendary screenwriter, Cypher. Open casting calls for all roles will be announced soon. They tagged my old account. I simply liked the tweet, and my notifications immediately blew up, nearly crashing the app. Twitter's trending list was dominated by the news. Holy yes, Cypher is back with a new script. It's been 5 years. I thought we'd never get another script from Cypher. I'm so there for this. Looking at the millions of comments, I couldn't help but smile. This was me. This was who I was supposed to be. The day of the auditions arrived. A-list stars and Hollywood legends showed up, and their fan armies swarmed the venue. Thankfully, Maya had anticipated the chaos and rented out a stadium for the event, which was just barely big enough. And as expected, Bella and Caleb were there. From inside the audition room, I could hear the chant from their fans. Bella, Bella, Caleb, Caleb. The sound of his name made me roll my eyes. Don't worry, everyone. I heard Caleb's voice, amplified by a microphone. Bella and I will definitely land these roles. Sitting at the judge's table, I had heard enough. Next, please, I said into my own mic, try to move things along. Beside me, Maya was practically vibrating with anticipation. The next moment, Bella and Caleb walked in, hand in hand, beaming. But when they saw me sitting in the producer's chair, their smiles froze. Leo, what are you doing here? Bella gasped. Ms. Rodriguez, Caleb said, turning to Maya. This man must have snuck in. You need to call security and have him thrown out immediately. Caleb was really going for the jugular, trying to get me thrown out in front of tens of thousands of fans. That would be a career-ending humiliation. But this was my turf now. Maya let out a cold laugh. You want me to throw Cypher out? Of course not. I'm talking about. Caleb started to bluster, then paused, the name finally registering. His eyes widened as he stared at me in disbelief. Bella's expression was identical. Leo, you? A loser like you could never be Cypher, Caleb sneered, his voice shaking. I just smiled calmly, my gaze fixed on a stunned Bella. Sorry to disappoint you. Turns out I'm pretty damn good at things other than being your kept man. All right. I clapped my hands together. Let's see what you've got. Bella looked like she wanted to say something, but I had already lost my patience. Caleb's face was a mask of fury. If Bella hadn't been holding him back, he probably would have stormed out. They performed a scene from a script. Maya and I watched the entire thing with our brows furrowed. Okay, we're done here, I said, pointing at Caleb. You're cut. He was the only person we had rejected on the spot all day. His face turned pale. Leo, I know you don't like me, but you can't let your personal feelings interfere with the project. That's unprofessional, Caleb said, puffing out his chest with self-righteous indignation, as if rejecting him was a cardinal sin. Bella stepped forward, her expression a familiar mix of disappointment and judgment. Leo, why'd you become like this? I know Caleb might have been a little out of line before, but this isn't the place for revenge. I need a real reason. I looked up at her, a mocking smile on my face. She still didn't seem to understand her position here. Since Miss Vance asked so nicely, I'll give you a reason. I leaned back in my chair and pointed at Caleb. It was a 5-minute scene. He forgot his lines 3 times. His acting is wooden and has no soul. He played an inspirational hero like he was a common thief. Why in the world would I give someone like that a chance? My critique left Caleb red-faced and speechless, glaring at me with pure hatred. Bella frowned. He was just nervous. Can't you give him a second chance? Do you think you got it perfect the first time you wrote a script? Actually, yes. My first script was a blockbuster. I replied without a single flicker of hesitation. Bella was completely floored. Of course, she had no idea. From the moment I started in this industry, my first script made me a legend. I never experienced the struggle that so many others face. Looking back now, how could I have been so stupid to throw away everything I had accomplished for her? Even if I forgot my lines, how do you know I'm not right for the part? You're just getting revenge. Caleb shouted, refusing to back down. I fixed him with an icy glare. Because I don't want my characters played by scumbags, I said coldly. And besides, it's my script. Even if I am getting revenge, what are you going to do about it? Now get out. Don't waste our time. The moment the words left my mouth, Maya gestured to the security guards. I knew her well enough to know that if Caleb said one more word, she would have him physically thrown out. Humiliated, Caleb turned and left. Surprisingly, Bella didn't follow him. Leo, we need to talk. Can we find some time? Maya shot me a worried look. She knew my history. She was afraid my old feelings would resurface. I gave her a reassuring smile before turning back to Bella. We have nothing to talk about. The moment you kissed him on that stage, we were done. Hearing that, Bella sighed. I'll find you again. With that, she finally left. Maya gave me a thumbs up. Nice. That's more like it. Pretty impressive, huh? Bet you're falling for me now. The second the words were out, I regretted them. I wanted to slap myself. What a stupid thing to say. Sure enough, a blush crept up Maya's neck. She turned away, muttering, Ugh, who would fall for you? You wish. I could only shrug, helplessly. The more I tried to explain, the worse it would get. It was better to just stay quiet. We spent the rest of the day auditioning actors, and the awkward moment was never mentioned again. It was late by the time we both headed home to crash. The next morning, I was jolted awake by a frantic pounding on my door. I stumbled out of bed and opened it to find a young woman in a hat and a face mask. Hello, can I help you? Leo, you're just some stupid writer. How dare you reject my Caleb? Before I could even process what was happening, she lunged at me with a knife. I twisted away just in time. The blade missed its mark but sliced through my forearm, warm blood soaking my sleeve. In that split second, I grabbed her wrist and slammed it against the wall until the pain made her drop the knife. Using my size advantage, I easily pinned her. Leo, Maya's frantic voice echoed from the hallway. A moment later, she appeared with 2 bodyguards in tow. Her eyes widened when she saw the blood on my arm. Leo, you're hurt. The bodyguards took control of the girl while Maya rushed me over to the couch. I'm fine, I said, trying to calm her down, but it didn't seem to work. She found my first aid kit and began dressing the wound, tears welling in her eyes. Some crazy Stan, I muttered. Almost took me out. It was Caleb, Maya said, her voice filled with fury. After you rejected him yesterday, he went on social media and played the victim, dropping hints for his fans to come after you. Hearing that, my own expression hardened. I got lucky this time. What about the next? After tying off the bandage, Maya's voice was laced with steel. Don't worry. I'm not going to let him get away with this. He's not as clean as he looks. I didn't try to stop her. If he wanted to play this game, he had to be ready for the consequences. A few days later, Maya came to me with an update. Her team had found everything. Chat logs of Caleb stringing along multiple female fans, pretending to be in relationships with them to keep them loyal. They even had photos of him in bed with some of them. And on the phone of the girl who attacked me, they found messages from Caleb himself, goading her into killing me. Maya, I need to ask you for a favor, I said, placing my hands on her shoulders and looking at her seriously. She sighed. I know. I'll destroy the evidence. Destroy it? Why would you do that? I asked, confused. I was going to ask you to make sure he never works in this town again. She let out a breath of relief. Oh, is that all? I thought Bella had gotten to you, asking you to let him off the hook. As if Bella Vance doesn't have that kind of pull with me anymore, I scoffed. Seeing me now, Maya let out a small laugh. For a moment, her smile was so radiant it outshone everything else. I found myself staring. My gaze made her blush. What are you looking at? She asked shyly. You, I said, stroking my chin, not trying to hide it. How did I never notice how beautiful you are? Maya froze for a second. Then her face turned a deeper shade of red. Well, of course I am, she said, trying to sound haughty. You're just the only idiot who never noticed. What? I frowned at her. She just rolled her eyes. If you don't get it, forget it. I have to go take care of this. She stood up and walked out. I watched from the window as her car pulled away. How could I not get it? I was just terrified of crossing that line, of losing the one friend I had left. Maya's team worked fast. A tidal wave of negative press crashed down on Caleb. WTF. Caleb slept with his fans and incited one to try and kill Cypher. Ugh, so gross. My girlfriend used to be a fan. This guy is human garbage. He needs to be canceled permanently. His studio's frantic PR efforts were useless against the tsunami of public outrage. Overnight, Caleb Ryder became a pariah. Endorsement deals were dropped, and his studio announced they were terminating his contract and suing him for breach. Caleb was financially ruined and vanished from the public eye. The next time I heard about him, he was begging on a street corner with broken legs, apparently a victim of retaliation from people he couldn't pay back. But that was much later. As his on-screen partner, Bella didn't escape the fallout. After Caleb's scandal broke, our past relationship was dug up and exposed. She was branded a heartless user, the kind of person who kicks away the ladder as soon as they reach the top. Of course, some people gloated, saying she missed her chance with a golden goose like me. And then, the woman herself showed up at my door again. Aren't you going to invite me in? Bella asked, gesturing toward my apartment. She had lost weight. The stress was clearly getting to her. Come in. I handed her a bottle of orange juice, her favorite. She seemed to hesitate for a second before taking it. Thanks. I'm surprised you know how to say that, I said, sitting across from her. What do you want? I'm sorry. Her sudden apology caught me off guard again. Leo, I know I neglected you, and I forgot the promises I made, she began. But it was all just an act for the cameras. The studio wanted me to give Caleb a boost. I never did anything to betray you. Can we go back to how things were? She looked at me with hopeful eyes. A few months ago, I might have believed her, might have even forgiven her, but not anymore. Bella, are you done with the performance? I said with a cold smile. Your passionate kisses with Caleb, calling me immature, announcing your relationship. Was that all fake? What about the two of you getting a hotel room? Was that fake, too? Bella's face went pale. What? What are you talking about? We never got a hotel room. I opened my chat with Caleb and held the phone up for her to see. Looks fun, doesn't it? I yelled. Did you enjoy yourself? The night Caleb had messaged me, his final salvo had been a video of him and Bella in bed together. She was dressed in a skimpy outfit, and he was pulling on a pair of bunny ears she was wearing deep into some kind of role play. Give me that. Bella's face contorted in panic. She lunged, trying to snatch the phone from my hand. I kicked her squarely in the stomach. Chivalry? She didn't deserve it. When she realized she couldn't overpower me, she dropped to her knees, her face a mask of pitiful desperation. Leo, please let me explain. I was drunk. Caleb forced me, she sobbed. Besides, I just made a mistake that any woman could make. Please forgive me. She was an Oscar winner for a reason. Her performance was flawless. She played the victim perfectly, shifting all the blame to Caleb. Cheating is not a mistake any woman would make. Maya's voice cut through the room as she opened the door and walked in. I'd never changed the key code, and she had always known it. You too, Bella stammered, pointing between us. I'm his girlfriend. Is it strange for me to be at his apartment? Maya walked over and took my hand, the gesture so natural it looked real. Impossible, Bella shrieked. Leo loves me too much. He would never be with you. She grabbed my shoulders and started shaking me. Leo, tell me it's not true. Say something. I shoved her hands off me. It's exactly what it looks like. I held up my hand with Maya's. We're together. I looked at Maya with an expression of pure adoration. Then I turned back to Bella. You can go now. Unless, of course, you want to stick around and listen. I lifted Maya's hand to my lips and kissed it. The move even caught Maya by surprise. When she recovered, she turned to Bella with a cold expression. You hurt him, or do I need to have you removed? Bella shot Maya a hateful look, but she knew she was outmatched. She was a star, but Maya was the one who made stars. Defeated, she stormed out. The moment she was gone, I dropped Maya's hand. Sorry about that, I said apologetically. A flicker of disappointment crossed Maya's eyes, but she quickly hid it. Don't worry about it. We're friends she said with a forced brightness. Anyway, I just came by to tell you we start shooting in a week. Now that that's done, I should get going. She turned and practically fled. I didn't know how to stop her. All I could do was sigh. Am I a coward? Maybe, but I couldn't bear the thought of hurting her. What happened next was unexpected. The online backlash against Bella grew exponentially, to the point where even her A-list status couldn't protect her anymore. I knew it had to be Maya's doing. After some thought, I called her. She picked up on the first ring. You don't have to go to war for me, Maya. It's not worth it. It is worth it, she said softly. Anything for you is worth it. Her words twisted the guilt in my gut even deeper. I was about to say something when her voice came again, small and hesitant. Leo, would you ever consider me? I have money, and I'm not bad-looking. Don't be ridiculous. We're best friends, right? I replied with a forced laugh, trying to lighten the mood, trying to run away. But I don't want to be your friend, Leo. I want to have your babies. 14. It was a blunt, raw confession, but I couldn't laugh. I wanted to say something, anything, but the words wouldn't come. I sighed, and silence fell between us. After a long moment, Maya's voice came through the phone again, thick with unshed tears. Okay, I get it. The sound of the call, disconnecting, echoed in the quiet room. All I could do was shake my head. Don't blame me, I thought. I just don't want to see you get hurt. When filming started, I went out of my way to avoid Maya. The online storm raged on, and Bella's career completely imploded. She lost all her projects and became a Hollywood ghost. She found me one more time, begging me to call off the dogs for old time's sake. When I refused, she even offered to be my mistress. Sorry, I don't do sloppy seconds, and I'm not a garbage collector. When she saw that I had no intention of saving her, she finally disappeared for good. I thought that was how my life would be from then on. But on the last day of shooting at the wrap party, Maya wasn't there. I got a call from her. Leo, I'm leaving the country. 15. No one knew why I suddenly bolted from the party. On the frantic drive to the airport, I kept asking myself the same question over and over. Do I love Maya? I still didn't have an answer. I couldn't face what was in my own heart. But I knew one thing for certain. If I let her go, I would regret it for the rest of my life. I screeched to a halt at the curb and ran into the terminal, my eyes scanning the crowds desperately. Maya! Maya! Then I heard the roar of a jet engine. I looked up at the departures board and saw the word, departed. My heart hammered against my ribs, my breath catching in my throat. I was too late. I had really lost her. Leo, are you looking for me? A familiar voice came from behind me. I spun around so fast I almost fell. There she was, standing with her suitcase, a playful grin on her face. Without a second thought, I closed the distance between us and pulled her into a crushing hug. Her hands, which had been hovering in the air, slowly wrapped around my back. It's okay, I'm still here, she whispered, patting my back gently. I held on tighter, afraid that if I let go, she would vanish like a dream. But she was real, solid and warm in my arms. I love you, Maya. I breathed in her hair. I felt her tremble. I was scared to admit it, scared I would hurt you. So I kept pushing you away. But I don't want you to leave. I'm terrified of losing you. I pulled back just enough to look her in the eyes. Will you be my girlfriend? She covered her mouth, tears streaming down her face as she nodded vigorously. I've been waiting for so long, she choked out. Hearing her answer, a huge smile broke across my face. I pulled her back into my arms, holding her tight. I didn't care about the people rushing past us. All that mattered was her. Hey, public space, people. Get a room, will ya? I looked up to see a TSA agent standing in front of us, a look of profound exasperation on his face. Maya couldn't help but burst out laughing. "Sorry about that. We're leaving," I said sheepishly, taking her hand and leading her away. As we walked off, I thought I heard the agent mutter, "I hate you happy couples. It's psychological torture for us single folk." To that, I could only say, "Sorry, my friend." 16. 2 years later, I stood at the altar looking at Maya. The crowd was a who's who of Hollywood, filled with the biggest names in the business. The officiant smiled. "Now, before we get to the official part, how about we have a little fun?" The guests cheered. Maya and I exchanged a smile and nodded. "All right then," the officiant said. "Ask each other one question. Something no one else knows." I looked at Maya, her face glowing. "That day at the airport," I began, "why didn't you get on the plane?" "Because I couldn't leave you, you idiot," she said, poking me gently in the chest and rolling her eyes. "I'm stuck with you for life." She paused, then asked, "So, when did you fall in love with me?" I frowned, pretending to think hard. I let the silence stretch, watching a flicker of panic cross her face before I broke into a wide grin. "Every single time I've ever looked at you." The crowd awed. "Maya Rodriguez, will you marry me? Will you spend every breakfast, lunch, and dinner the rest of our lives with me?" "Marry her! Marry her!" the guests chanted. "I was ready 2 years ago," Maya whispered, wiping a tear from her eye. I laughed, taking the ring and sliding on her finger. From this day forward, her name was written on my heart. I stood and pulled her into my arms. Over her shoulder, I saw a familiar face in the crowd. Bella Vance. Well, what do you know? She actually came. I hope she brought a nice gift. The end.